The PUMA Forever Run Nitro was one of my favourite daily trainers of late because it offered an energetic ride in a stable package at a very competitive price if you bought it at a place like Start Fitness. Version 2 has arrived with some exciting updates, but are they enough to keep this fan favourite a popular choice? It's time to find out. Hello everybody and welcome to FORDY Runs. My name is Chris Ford and I'm a running coach who loves to make YouTube videos about running shoes and running content in general. We also do 2 live streams a week, one on a Monday and one on a Friday, so make sure you check them out as well. So in this video we're going to be talking about these, the PUMA Forever Run Nitro 2, which I think looks absolutely cracking in this pastel colour. Now how this video is going to work, we're going to go through the stats and features. I'm going to tell you what's new here. I'm going to go through how I've used the shoe and who this shoe probably best suits. We're going to talk about which shoes this goes up against, where it would fit into a rotation, and then at the end of the video I'm going to wrap it all up and let you know my final thoughts on this, the PUMA Forever Run Nitro 2. Okay, so we've got a couple of things to do before we get into the stats and features. Firstly, I do want to give a shout out to our friends at Start Fitness and Puma who are kind enough to collab and send this shoe over to me nice and early so I can get plenty of miles in it before we release the video today. And because they did this, I'm going to now show you this disclaimer. Now with that out of the way and hopefully my arse has been covered, I've got one more thing we need to do before we crack on with the video. And that is we all need to subscribe to this YouTube channel because we're trying to get to 22 million subscribers. We're very close, so if you haven't, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Done it? Let's move on. Okay, so stats and features. Let's get into what's new here with version 2. Okay, so the PUMA Forever Run Nitro 2 is a mild stability daily trainer. It's 140 pounds, weighs 315 grams in my UK 9.5, and I would say be careful if you've got a very wide foot. We've got 38mm stack in the heel and 28 in the forefoot. That's a 10mm drop, and we have had an increase in stack, and I'll come on to that in just a bit. We've got the run guide system in the shoe. We've got a dual density nitro foam. We've got a softer core and a firmer rim, and I'll show you that as well in just a sec. We've got Puma grip on the outsole, and we now have this bigger, more noticeable TPU heel support. We've got a brand new engineered knit upper featuring power tape to add support in the upper, and we've also had some changes to the heel area, including this pull tab on the back. So let's compare the two. Here's version 1, here's version 2. There's the difference in the uppers, there's the difference in the outsoles, and you'll see that medial placement of the rubber coverage. We've got a new lacing system, including the eyelets. Here's the difference in the heel counters, the TPU heel counters in both of them. We've got plenty of overlays on version 2 versus version 1, which we've got the power tape, but see the amount of overlays on here to add support into the upper. Now in terms of stack heights, we've got 2mm more in this shoe in the forefoot and in the heel, so it's increased in stack. Now with that increase in stack has come an increase in weight. This is 295 grams, and like I said, this is over 300 grams in my UK 9.5. Now in terms of the fit, like I said in the stats and features, this shoe comes up a little bit more narrow than this shoe. It's something to be aware of if you have a wide foot. Now look at the difference in the bottoms of the shoe. Now this bluer colour on the newer shoe is that softer core, the dual density foams. You won't see that in here. We've got this softer foam core in the middle, and then we've got that white stuff going around the edge. That's the rim, that's the firmer foam to create that stable rim around the outside to help with that stability. You've also got there, see that blue strip, that's toe off guidance. That's to help in terms of your toe off to try and again stabilize the foot movement as you go through. And that's all part of the run guide system. Yeah, they built this up. They haven't got any postings or anything like that. The way they've designed it with the geometry, the placement of the rubber on the outside, you've got the medial piece there, that toe off there. Say you've got the firmer foam around the edge of the nitro foam. That's all there to help with this run guide system to try and stabilize you as you go through your foot strike. Okay, so they're the main differences between the two. Now let's get on to why I like this shoe. For me, as somebody who mildly pronates when they get tired, this was a godsend when it came out. Was it 2 years ago? I can't remember when it came out now, but it was an absolute godsend, the Forever Run, because it provided a up-tempo daily trainer, a shoe that I was able to pick up the pace because of the excellent nitro foam in the shoe, but I was able to get a stable ride. I was going to say slightly stable ride, but a very stable ride actually in the shoe. And then what they've done with version 2 is they've improved it massively. Okay, so I've been using this shoe as daily miles. As I said, I've been very lucky to get this shoe nice and early from the guys at Start Fitness and Puma. And we've been cranking up the miles in it. I think the longest run I did in it is just over 8 miles. If you check that run out on my Strava, you'll see that I went through the paces. I think I was down to like 7-minute miles at one point. But I've used it in daily mileage basically, and I think that's the sort of sweet spot for the shoe to be able to do those easier stuff, pick it up a little bit. And the foam with the dual density setup they've got here with the softer core, the extra stack height versus version 1, it's just brilliant, this shoe. It's so much, it gives you so much confidence because of you've got the inherent stability built into the shoe now with the run guidance system, and you've got the nitro foam working very well because of the dual density setup. It gives you it gives you a lot of confidence to sort of push through the paces and go those slightly longer miles, to do some of those workouts, but to ease off as well, and you know you're not going to be like wobbling all over the place. This is brilliant, this shoe, for anybody who mildly pronates or somebody who just wants a daily trainer that's really stable. The foam's not overly soft, it works extremely well at all paces, and because of the comfort of the shoe, it really does give you a very, very well put together and versatile daily trainer. Now, importantly, we've got a very good outsole because we've got PUMA grip on the shoe, so I've been running this in the rain and all the horrible British winter that we get, and it's been absolutely brilliant. The wear and tear on this will be absolutely fine. I reckon I've probably got about 50 miles as a guess on this shoe. And this PUMA grip, which is, look how thick it is. They could have easily shaved weight on this shoe by reducing some of that down, but they didn't because they want durability and they want to provide you a decent amount of grip. You could run these things on trails in the summer, no problem at all. This new upper is super comfortable. The lacing's brilliant. I like the racier sort of tongue and the comfort you get in the heel with this nice bit of foam that's in the back. I think it looks great as well, and that goes towards creating this package that I think will work for so many people. But look, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's do rotation and competitors. So the competitors really, I would say, are the ASICS GT2000 and the Saucony Tempus. But I actually feel like this is more skewed towards the Saucony Tempus because of the nitro foam in here. Like I said, you can pick up the pace in this shoe. So I think the closest rival is probably the Saucony Tempus. And we'll do a video comparing the two. Now, in terms of a rotation, I think this would sit as your bread and butter daily trainer that can do pretty much everything. You can go slightly longer in it as well. As I said, I did 8 miles and I'll comfortably run a half marathon in this. I'd probably put a lightweight shoe in there for some of them workouts. So whether it's like a Brooks Hyperion or Launch 11, something like that. And then you'd stick something in like a super trainer, whether that's a Nike Zoom Fly 6, Hyperion Max 2, something like that. I think that would complement this shoe as well. Of course, if you were looking for a racing shoe and you wanted to stick with Puma, you'd stick the Elite 3, which is a phenomenal shoe. Now, I've done videos on that, so make sure you check that out. And that is a great race day shoe, people. So that would obviously complement this. You could go Elite 3, this, and then even something like a Velocity from Puma. The only problem with Puma shoes at the moment is they do come up narrow, okay? So that's something you've got to be aware of. So if your foot's a little bit wider, you may have some problems with those two shoes that I mentioned. This is okay. I've had a little bit of rubbing on the outside here, so you've got to be aware of that if you have a slightly wider foot. That's the only thing I would say. Okay, so let's move on to things I like and things I don't like. I like nitro foam. I like this upper. I love PUMA grip. I like the comfort in the heel. I like this pull tab. I like the lacing. I like the way it looks. I love 140 pounds. And I love the fact that we've got a mild stability shoe here that everyday runners can use. I also love the fact that you can pick up the pace in this. Okay, dislikes. I think the width's a problem. It's not so much of a dislike for me, but I think it's worth, well, it's definitely worth flagging. The weight I haven't got a problem with, and I can't think of any real other dislikes. This is a very good shoe, people. So the question is, do you buy version 1 or do you buy version 2? Well, I think there's enough here to justify version 2. You've got the increased stack, you've got the dual density foam setup, you've got the increased sort of stability with the TPU, heel counter, and the other bits and bobs that they've added into this shoe with the upper and the lacing. I think everything combined at 140 pounds is probably worth stepping up. Now, I know you can get version 1 really, really cheap, and it is a brilliant shoe, but I do think it's probably worth paying a little bit more to get version 2 because it is that good. We've got a very good shoe on our hands, people, here, because I think this appeals to so many everyday runners, people who are mildly pronate, people who want a little bit of added stability in their shoe, but they want something that they can pick up the pace in that will hang on because it's got a good outsole. The feedback from this Nitro foam is excellent, people. It really is. So for anybody out there who's looking for a daily trainer who wants something that's a little bit stable, that's not, you know, overly soft like a Neo Zen or anything like that, and you want something that's a little bit more built up maybe than a Evo SL from Adidas, this is a very good shoe, people. It really, really is. And I'm fully aware that you're going to ask in the comments, how does this compare against the Nova Blast 5? Because I know that's coming. For me, the Nova Blast 5 is probably going to be a bit soft for some of you, especially if you need a little bit of stability, and that's where this comes in. So if you can't get on with the Nova Blast 5, and by the way, the Nova Blast 5 has a terrible outsole compared to this thing. But if you can't get on with the Nova Blast 5 because it's too unstable, too soft, doesn't work for you, then this is the shoe to buy at £140. And as I always say, people, head over to Start Fitness, use the code FORDYRUNS and you get a cheeky little discount. Okay, so there we go. I think I've been pretty conclusive in my likes of the Forever Run 2. This was a shoe I was very excited about because of its appeal to everyday runners, to people like me and you, just sort of normal people who like to run but need a shoe that is stable, that is forgiving, but has a little bit of get up and go with this foam. I think this is brilliant, people. It's not over the top in terms of pricing. You're going to get plenty of wear and tear from the outsole. It looks good as well, and like I said, you can do so much in it. The versatility is a big selling point of this shoe. So like I said, I think it's worth paying up to get this versus version 1. Although version 1 is at a heavy discount, I do think there's enough here to warrant paying that extra money. And I'm somebody who, you know, really pushes value on this channel, but I do believe it's actually worth paying up for this shoe because what they've done here, the changes they've made, they've massively improved it. And the first shoe was excellent. So they've done a very good job here, people. So well done, Puma. Great job. Everyday runners are going to love this shoe. So check it out. Let me know in the comments, are you going to be getting Forever Run 2? And also don't forget to subscribe before you leave me today, and I shall catch you all later.